Trails to Azure, the much anticipated Western release of this beloved game, is finally upon us. And let me tell you, this game shocked me. So let's talk about it. My name's Kevin from Save the Game Media. And if you like day one reviews and gaming podcasts like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Before we get started, quick shout out to NIS America for providing the code ahead of launch for this review. But without further ado, let's talk about The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. When I finally jumped into the Trails series last year with Trails from Zero, I said the game was good, but not great. After hearing so much fanfare about how amazing these games were, I expected to fall in love. So, my anticipation for Trails to Azure wasn't exactly through the roof, but I have to hold my hands up and say, I get it. I get it. Trails to Azure is nothing short of a masterpiece. This is the game that when anyone asks me, what made you a fan of the Trails series? I'm going to point and say Trails to Azure. It's been days since I rolled credits on it, and I still can't stop thinking about it. But what makes this game so great? Well, it's really a refinement and maturation of what Trails from Zero did. I ding Trails from Zero a lot for its incredibly slow pacing, where you would go hours just clicking through dialogue boxes. And I'm pleased to say that's not the case with Trails to Azure. From the get go, it's a full steam ahead adventure, having you pick up almost right where you left off. And this game never takes its foot off the brake, leading to a much smoother and better flowing experience for the player. You're once again going to get into the role of Lloyd Bannings, leader of the Crossbell Special Support Section, or the SSS, and immediately you're thrown into dealing with the cult that was the main antagonist of the last game. This game's introduction is tying up the loose ends from Zero, and if you played these games back to back, it would feel like continuing right from that high stakes encounter you left off on. However, the cult isn't the main antagonist in Azure. The story is much more of a political thriller, with Crossbell fighting for its independence from its two neighboring, much more powerful nations. And I think this is where being a bigger Trails fan might provide some context that I've missed, but even without it, the narrative is still very enticing. You have also the underlying plot that's trying to figure out more about the cult and why they wanted Kia so bad. She is an integral part to the story, and I assume she will be integral in the sequel, Trails into Reverie. There are so many great twists and turns plot wise that I never saw coming. It really had me stunned, like mouth on the floor. I could not believe what I was seeing. I won't spoil anything here, but a lot of the characters you're introduced to in Zero return here. And obviously, the SSS is back with Ellie, Randy, and Tio. But you add in side characters like Noel, who was part of the CGF in the last game, and Wazi, who was a street thug. They're now joining you in the SSS. They're really just side characters, but they're a welcome addition. I love them in the last game, and getting to explore them so much more is fantastic. This game does a lot with Wazzy, especially. He's a central character to the plot, as is Randy, who I also loved in the last game. But a large portion of the story, especially starting out, will involve Randy's backstory, his falling out with his mercenary, bloodthirsty family. What I can say is that whatever you expect to happen won't. You're going to be shocked the entire time. You're going to have plot twists, and I absolutely love where they took the story. Trails to Azure has an incredible story and an incredible cast of characters. They are truly the highlight of this game. But the gameplay also isn't much of a slouch. The gameplay here hasn't changed much from Trails from Zero, but it didn't really need to. It's a turn based combat system moving along a grid. You can only move certain squares depending on the character. But at your disposal, you'll continue to have your normal attacks, your arts, which are your magic spells, and then crafts, which are more powerful attacks. You also have the returning S crafts and combo crafts that inflict massive damage upon multiple enemies in the entirety of the battlefield. Amazing, beautiful animations still accompanying them. Some new ones here, which I really did appreciate. I gotta say, I found Trails to Azure much more challenging than Trails from Zero. Bosses would punch my teeth in if I wasn't prepared for them. And I beat the game when I was literally level 110. I did start at level 50, which I'm not sure if that's just the normal level you start at, or it's because I imported my save data from Trails to Zero. But either way, you can access every ability from the last game right at the start of this one. Your combo crafts, your S crafts, everything is there. And I love that because I hate when games artificially are like, we got to depower these characters somehow. I was waiting for that and it never came. One new addition with the court system that makes its return in this, and it's kind of a mainstay in the Trail series from what I can tell, is that courts are still the little gems you slot in, fill on every character that can give you additional bonuses in battle. But now you get a master courts, and this I really liked. The master courts allows you to put one big main courts into your Enigma 2, and it's leveled up through battle, but the effects you gain from these were much greater and more impactful than the little tiny courts, which maybe let you move an additional square or show you enemies on the map. These master courts will do things like buff your speed, buff your attack for long periods, greater percentages, 25, 30%, as well as giving you additional effects, such as when your health gets low, your strength will increase even further. One area of the game that still suffers for me is the economy. You're going to be broke a lot of the time and unable to afford things in this game. At least that is my experience with both of the Trails games I've played so far. That is, unless you're doing the side quests. I do tend to stay away from the side quests. One, to meet embargo for this review, but two, I just kind of find them dull and boring. They still have not clicked with me even in this game. They are improved slightly. It's not as many fetch quests and running around town. Even then, it's not a big of a hassle because you can fast travel so many places in this game. Right from the start, you have the entirety of Crossbell you can fast travel to, but they also give you a car which allows you to fast travel to areas outside of Crossbell in a welcome addition, making those extermination or fetch quests so much simpler to handle. It's much better. Still not the best, but they are improving in this aspect. As this is a port and it's getting a touch up from the original, I can say the game does look better than Trails from Zero did on my PlayStation 5. Signs are actually legible in this game, unlike the last one. Textures are better, making Crossbow look and feel better. And high speed mode returns, making this 40-hour plus JRPG into more of a 20 ish hour experience. I think I rolled right around 21, 22 hours. It's a bug and glitch free experience. It's really, really great. So, the big question, should you buy The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure? The answer is easy. Absolutely. The game is brilliant from start to finish. The gameplay is just as excellent as it was in Zero, but improved. The story is phenomenal from the focus on the large cast of characters to the overall politically driven narrative. If you played Trails from Zero, this is a must play as it perfects and corrects the formula found in that game. Trails to Azure is a strong recommend for me. But let me know your thoughts down below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Come follow us over at Save Game Media on Twitter. And until next time, I've been Kevin for Save the Game Media. See ya.